Food is more than just what's on our plate. It's the places where it's grown, it's the people who grow it, and so much more. Join me, Janice Person, your host, on Grounded by the Farm every other week as we talk about the foods we love. When I first started thinking to myself, I'd love to do a podcast, I think maybe part of it was because when I went to Mimi Avocado's farm, ranch, whatever she wants to call it, outside San Diego, I had so many people asking me questions on Facebook and Twitter and things like that I couldn't keep up. And so having this nice long conversation seemed perfect. It's so nice to sit down and talk to Mimi in this changing world we live in. She helps us focus on what's important, like how to find the perfect avocado, what you need to do when you're in the store, things you ought to think about at home, ways to make avocado toast and guacamole that I had never even heard of. And then she talks about how they care for the trees, some of the issues with salt water. It's amazing what she does. But we're going to start off with a little bit of conversation about what's going on in the world today with the coronavirus and how that's impacting their family farm and what their farm is doing for their community. And it all is going to start off with Mimi telling us, how's it going out there?
We're doing just fine. We're farming as usual. We're shipping a lot more avocados these days and tangerines. And we've even figured out how to send a regional box just to people in Southern California at a lower shipping cost. So we're excited about that because there's so many people who don't want to leave their homes. And of course, as you know, out in California, everybody eats avocados.
Yeah.
So we have our avocados, our tangerines, and Ben has even sourced some potatoes because some of the restaurant suppliers are needing to move their produce. So we know that, with all the people that can't get out of their homes, starting tomorrow, we're even going to be boxing up potatoes for people that need potatoes.
That's amazing, because one of the things I was talking with a few friends about over the last couple of weeks is there's got to be all this food that's going into the food service channels for cafeterias like offices and schools and restaurants. And how do we help those companies and that food get pivoted so that people like me, when we go to the store, there are potatoes, because that's one of those staples that a lot of us like to have at home, and we may not always be buying them when we're out eating and stuff in restaurants, but suddenly we all seem to want things like that. And we want treats like avocados, or for some of us, they may be staples.
Right. Well, he came home with a pickup truck load of like a box of celery. I've never seen an entire box of celery, and carrots.
I've actually seen celery farms, so I'm in a weird spot.
We have an extended family and we have employees that don't want to leave the ranch, and it's not safe to go outdoors really unless you have to go. And since we're being told to stay at home unless absolutely necessary, he's trying to make it unnecessary for as many people as possible to leave their homes. And so first today, we received all this goodness and shared it with our workers here on the ranch and with family members that live nearby. And starting tomorrow, then he'll start to ship out the things that we can safely ship.
Yeah.
So we've done it with avocados and oranges, tangerines, and those will continue, forever, probably, we hope.
Yeah, that's fantastic. You guys already had a customer base that was there, and you also have some name recognition and some social media following and stuff. So it's easy to get word out and kind of step in there. Maybe we should talk a little bit about what all you grow on the farm. So I said you grow avocados, but you also mentioned tangerines. But I say you grow avocados, but you grow a lot of different kinds of avocados, and not very many people know all of those.
Well, I'm not sure I even know all of them at this point. When my husband and I got married back in the early 80s, he told me that we had 7 varieties of avocados. Over the years, the industry kind of standardized to the Haas avocado. They're a much longer season.
Yeah.
And those little bumps, the bumpy skin. So they ship a lot better than other varieties. And it was just easier for the industry to stand to Haas. And so when the avocado industry moved into other countries, of course, they were expanding based on the demand for avocados. They were planting primarily Haas avocados. But we still had other varieties like Fuerte, spelled Fuerte, Fuerte.
Those are the ones I just bought.
Aren't they great? They're my favorite ones because they have such a really full flavor, and they have thinner skins. You can literally just peel the skin off this naked avocado. Anyway, we still have some left, and we'll be shipping those for another couple of weeks. We have bacon avocados that do not taste like bacon, but they're named Mr. Bacon, who developed them. We're not shipping those right now. Those are more December.
Okay.
And they have less of a profound flavor like the Fuertes do. Later in the summer, we'll have something called a reed avocado that is round like a cannonball.
Yep.
They look really fun. You've seen them hanging on the tree, these round like softballs just hanging on the tree.
Yeah, they just don't look like an avocado. To me, an avocado should have that paisley-like shape or pear-like shape or something kind of drawn out. And to see something that's like kind of perfectly round is weird.
But the fruit is so creamy. It's probably the creamiest avocado there is. And the skin is thick like leather. So you can literally open the avocado and just eat it right out of the natural bowl that it comes in, the skin.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So you just mash it up a little bit and put a little salsa in there, and you've got a bowl of guacamole.
Well, and most of us in the middle of the country, at least in California, I know people buy different avocados at farmers markets. Some people have access to people like you, and sometimes grocery stores sell different varieties. But for most of the U.S., it's Haas avocados all the time.
Right. But there are more people getting the older varieties. You probably recognize like the apples, for example. There used to be a lot of heirloom apples available, and then it got so that you only saw a few in store. And then over the last so many years, we've seen more and more different kinds of apples. You can go to the store and choose your color, the shape, the flavor.
So many different ones.
Yeah, we can do that with avocados as well. It's just that they're not in the stores at this time, but we've planted a number of new varieties. Nabal is a very large one. The Gwen is an earlier avocado. It's like earlier than Haas. So those
you guys let me try a new one. The last time I was out there, I actually brought some new ones home. I'm going to have to find those photos and stuff because I was just out there in November, and Ed was so nice to let me try something brand new. And you were like, well, we haven't even had those yet, but it was fantastic. And I did a short video. I remember now that we're talking about it.
Well, I know there's fruit on those trees out there. I just haven't taken the time to really study what they are and figure out when they're ripe. I'm kind of leaving that up to the farmers in the family, and when they bring them in the house, we'll try them.
It's you and Ed and your son, Ben. You mentioned he kind of runs the distribution, and California Avocados Direct is the name of that company that he runs.
He does a lot of things at the ranch, really. He does a lot of things. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's one of the farmers, and he has this side hustle that so many of us have in today's world. And you have employees. So that's kind of your operation there on the farm.
Our daughter's here now, too. The daughter that was in Vermont taking care of my mom for a while. And she's living with us, too. So she's helping out, doing some customer service now that we have so many people getting avocados through the California Avocados Direct.
That's fantastic. It's really a great family business. What are some of your favorite ways to eat avocados? Because I know avocado toast is like the thing that I've been eating quite a bit recently. I had an avocado BLTs. Oh my gosh, cutting it up for my tortilla soup. But what are some of your favorite ways to eat them?
Well, we slice them on top of scrambled eggs or with an omelet. We buy those bacon bits at Costco and put them into the scrambled eggs with a little onion maybe, and then slice avocados on top with a little cheese. we always have tortillas in the refrigerator so that we can make a burrito or a taco or a quesadilla and then, put slices of avocado on top, or we mash the avocado and do different kinds of guacamole. You don't have to have, the traditional guacamole. You could just grate onion into mashed avocado and try that. Or add a little crab meat if you happen to have a can of crab in your pantry or your refrigerator.
There was a simple thing that you showed me that I really hadn't ever thought about, and it was kind of use a seasoning salt, just slicing up the avocado and using a bit of a seasoning salt on it, and the kind of sweet and savory, creamy and spicy was really amazing.
Well, there are a lot of different seasonings out there. And if you look for the ones that are made for prime rib or grilled meats, those really bring the flavor of the avocado out. You just need a little bit on top. And when you're making avocado toast, you start with the avocado and the seasoning. Then you start adding little things like bits of feta cheese or bacon or microgreens. You just name it, whatever's in your refrigerator. Try it on top of the avocado toast.
I love it. I really, it's amazing how exciting it is to have fresh avocados. But here's the thing. I don't know how many people ask me, how do you get the perfect avocado? Right now, I'm not going to the store every day. So I don't go to the store expecting to buy an avocado that's ready for me to eat it today, but help me understand how to pick the perfect avocado in the store.
It's almost impossible to find the avocado at the exact moment that you want it. So the best thing to do is to get the hardest avocado you can find in the store, bring it home and let it sit on your counter. And then you will know when it's ready. And when it's ready, you be ready. And if you're ready when it's ready, then just put it into the crisper drawer of your fridge and wait a few hours or up to a couple of days and then eat it. But you can't be the first one ready when it comes to avocados. They are ready, and then you have to have some patience. It really develops, personal character traits to deal with avocados.
Well, you got into part of the thing that's really well discussed, and that's how to store avocados. So leaving them out in the open helps them ripen. And you said I could put it in the crisper if I wanted it to hold off for a few days.
Right.
Do you ever put it in the crisper first?
I never do, but I know some people do. You don't want to put it into the refrigerator while the avocado is really hard, because it'll slow down the process of softening. Okay. It may even stop it from softening. So you want to just wait until it's almost ready to eat. And then when well, I'm not going to be ready to eat an avocado for the next 2 meals, put it into the fridge. And remember, and if you order the avocados right from the farm, we pick them on the day that they go into the mail. So literally we're out picking in the morning. They go right into the boxes. They get hauled to the post office in the late, 3:00 in the afternoon. And depending on where you live, you'll get them either in the next 3 to 4 days. And when they get to your house, they're going to be still just as hard as rocks. Depending on the time of the season, it'll take anywhere from 5 to 10 days for them to soften. And you'll develop, with practice, you'll start to realize, get the feel of it. And you can leave them on the counter, and then you can move a few to the refrigerator, and then you can move them back out again to eat, bring them to room temperature. I don't like a cold avocado, personally. When I was taking avocados to Vermont for my mom, we would put the hardest avocados down into the pump room in the basement where it was cool. You don't want it to be too cool, like freezing cold. But 45 to 55 degrees is perfect, and they'll hold for quite a long time. And then you start bringing them upstairs 2 or 3 at a time.
I used that tip that you had given me the last time we talked, and so I had some in the box, and I took some down to my basement where it doesn't have the heater running and stuff, and I left them in the box, and then I put a note in my phone, don't forget that those are downstairs, go get those, don't let them, But that idea of if you're going to get a box of 6 or 12 or something delivered to the house, that you can help them not all ripen on the same day a little bit. Naturally, they won't all ripen at the same time. But what I found was there were quite a few ripe at the same time. And I'm not sure if I'm supposed to do this, Mimi, but what I did, you had showed me how to quarter them. So when you cut it, and you showed me how to peel an avocado by just scoring that on to quarters, and I peeled it back. When I did that, I basically took those quarters and put them in a baggie and mushed them a little bit on a few of them and got all the air I could out of the baggie. I left some in the refrigerator like that, and it kept really well for me. And then I could just pull some out and spread it on the next sandwich or something along that line.
Yeah, it's the air that causes them to turn brown. So that's oxidation.
Yeah.
So less air. Now, some people mash them up. If you have extra avocados, you just mash them up in a bowl and put them into like a muffin tin or something, and put a little bit of water on top so that no air gets in, and freeze it like that. Or you can freeze it in a Ziploc bag and push all the air out. That's probably the easiest way. Yeah. But lately, I've been seeing online that people have been saying that they freeze the whole avocado. And I'm not so sure that's a good idea. I mean, when we have freezing temperatures and the fruit freezes on the tree, it's not good.
Well,
I don't know.
Yeah, that's not preferred. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I saw one of those the other day. You mentioned a little bit about the seasonality of Fuertes are soon going to be over season. And you said later the reeds will come in. Tell me how avocados grow. So when does a bloom come out versus when can you finally go out there and pick it?
Well, the avocado trees are starting to bloom right now. I wish you could be here now because it's really pretty. If you go to my blog, you'll see pictures of avocado trees in bloom.
We'll make sure I include all that on the show notes because I love MimiAvocado.com.
They are starting to bloom now, and they'll be blooming right through the end of April into early May. And pretty soon we'll be starting to see what we call BBs, because when the blossom falls off, there's these tiny little green, they look just like little tiny BBs. And those are the baby avocados. And then they start to grow and they get to be about the size of an olive. And then they get to be the size of a plum. And then pretty soon they get a little bigger and they start to show the shape of an avocado. It's really exciting to watch. But at the same time that all of that is happening, the current crop is still hanging on the tree. We are still harvesting the fruit that grew last year. So it takes most of a whole year for an avocado to come to maturity from a flower to a fruit that's ready to eat.
That's kind of crazy.
It is.
Most trees have a dormancy period between putting on fruit and putting on flowers and producing the fruit, and then they kind of go through a dormancy period and then come back and do flowers again. So avocado trees, you guys are in such a beautiful temperate place. I guess they don't need to have any shutdown, and avocados only grow in beautifully warm, great places. They don't like the cold.
Well, that's true. They do take vacations. The trees will produce a huge crop one year and then maybe a smaller crop the next year. They call that alternate bearing. But with good management of the trees, with good fertilizers and the right watering, we've been pretty lucky to be able to have consistent crops. You'll hear, though, in the industry, the California industry, you'll hear that, well, they're having a huge crop year this year, or they're having a very small crop year this year. Or you'll hear farmers say, well, these particular trees didn't produce well this year. Maybe they overproduced last year. Yeah. So that's that. They take their own little vacations when they're ready. It's not like other avocados really do have a personality all their own.
They're a little fidgety. They do what they want to. They've got their own personality and not ready for you just to take advantage of them all the time. I love it.
Well, we have to watch the weather, because if it's going to be hot, you don't want to wait for the heat to hit, because by that time the tree is already feeling it. You have to be out ahead of the heat and put on extra water when you know the heat is coming.
Yeah.
So that the tree hopefully won't know.
Yeah. So hopefully it's prepared for the heat in advance. How long does a tree typically produce fruit? 5, 10, 50 years? I don't know.
We have some trees that are more than 40 years old.
Wow.
But things have changed over the years where our water supply is saltier than it was 40, 50 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's really better to replant trees and get the better root stocks that can withstand the salt.
Yeah.
So it's not a good thing that we have 50-year-old trees here. We are gradually replacing those trees.
A friend of mine in Orange County, California, not far from you, he has an avocado tree in his backyard. We had a great conversation about it because he was really intrigued about, why don't they ripen and some of these things. If people have an avocado tree, what should they do to take care of it?
Well, it needs consistent watering. And as farmers, we send in soil and leaf samples to make sure that they're getting the proper nutrients.
Mm-hmm.
But people with a tree in their backyard probably aren't going to do that. So we recommend a triple 15 fertilizer. And you put that on just several times a year, and preferably, just right before it's going to rain, if it ever does rain.
Yeah, this year you've actually had rain.
Oh, in the last month, we've had rain every week, but February, everybody was going nuts because there was no rain, and this is winter, and we're supposed to have rain, and where is it anyway? So, yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Well, what are some of the biggest challenges? I remember wind can be kind of wicked for you too on the trees.
Yeah, the wind is bad. And it used to be that when the avocados fell off the tree into the nice soft leaves that are under the tree, we could still go out and get the fruit right away and still sell that fruit. But with the food safety regulations that they've just put into place, we're not allowed to do that. So when the wind starts to blow, we start to pray real hard.
Yeah.
The fruit fall on the ground.
Right. That just, and after they've been there for so long.
Well, we still eat them. There's nothing wrong with the fruit that's on the ground. It's the regulations that they have. They don't want fruit to land on the ground. And sorry, that's just the way it is. They do land on the ground. The regulations say that we should pick the fruit off the tree, and it should not touch the ground.
And every avocado is picked by hand, is it?
Yes. They use a ladder up in the tree. They carry a bag on their shoulder, and then they clip the fruit with either a clippers if they can reach it with their arm, or they use a pole that has a bag on the end and a little knife that's attached to a string. I think we tried it when you were here.
We did. The first time I came, it was like March or April. I was out there for a conference called Dad 2.0, actually a dad blogger conference. Not that I'm a dad, but it was kind of interesting. You think about trees for avocados, you don't want to get them too high if you have to go up and pick everything. I mean, I've got an oak tree in my backyard, which I know you can't have that stuff in your part of the world, but it's a massive, huge tree. And I can't imagine trying to get everybody, somebody up in it all the way up to pick things out of it. So with fruit trees, you try and trim them, or how do you keep them more reasonable, or do they automatically stay that size?
You can prune them, and it's a good idea to do that and try to keep them, shorter and rounder. The fruit, I didn't know I had another phone up here in this room. The tree blooms and sets fruit where the sun hits it. So if you have a shorter tree that's rounder, then you're going to get blossoms and fruit all the way around the tree. If you let the trees grow taller, then they're going to canopy over, and only the very tops of the trees will get any sun. So you're standing down on the ground looking straight up at these very tall trees, and there's the avocados kind of hanging from the ceiling. So we do have some trees like that, and thank goodness there are professional avocado pickers, and that's all they do. They're very talented, they're very skilled, and they work for contract labor crews. We hope that there are enough of these people that know what they're doing. Many of them live here in this country, but came from other countries. Of course, there are plenty of people that would like to come here and do that work. So that's the difficult.
Yeah, it's been really tough here recently with some of the different things that are going on and how the border has been closed off. I know there was a lot of pushing and pulling and trying to figure out, even workers with very clear visas have had trouble on the border at some times, even though they've got a very clear work visa just to come across for day work or something. I know labor is probably one of the most intense problems a lot of farmers have.
Well, it is. When you raise avocados and you have a lot of trees, then you need to have a good relationship with your packing house or with the contract labor guy. And so we've already been talking about when we might like to have a crew come in. But you basically get on a list, and wait for your turn.
Mm-hmm.
We're fortunate that we do have some workers that are here all year round and have been with us for many years. And they do pick avocados, but they have so many other things to do that we really would prefer to let the labor crew come in and get the tallest trees, because they do it every day, day in and day.
Yeah, and your crew on your farm kind of do the weekly packing for the boxes that you sell, the subscriptions and things. You have some people that I guess subscribe to Ben on a monthly basis.
They do. Some of them get one box a month, and some of them get a box every 2 weeks, and a few people even get a box every week. There are people with celiac disease, and avocados are one of the only things they can eat.
Wow.
There are people on special diets, or they prefer to be vegan, and they really need avocados as a staple in their diet.
Yeah, it's impressive what you guys have been able to build there. Not the farm is definitely impressive, and we've got a lot of photos we'll put up with this when we put it up on the website, but also the link over to where they can buy some of these, and hopefully some of them will be able to get Fuertes in before they're out of season. But you guys keep those up to date, so you know whether there are Haas and things. And even the Haas avocados from you guys might be larger than we find in the grocery store sometimes, or at least a consistent quality and things along that line. I know you guys do a great job of picking great stuff.
We try to send out the top quality, because we know that's what we want people to see. We don't want to send out whatever they could buy in the grocery store. These are the best avocados from our farm.
Yeah. I met you because you have a blog. You go by Mimi Avocado.
Yes.
How did you get started on that, and how's it going?
Well, I started in 2011. I blogged for a long time, a lot of recipes and adventures and all kinds of things. I started because I had been to a blogging conference just to find out what blogging was. And this was, in the early days of blogging, and I got very excited about it. Then right around 2017 is about the time that my mom died. And I really didn't have a lot to say at that time,
Yeah.
And I had no desire to put together recipes and show people how to make things. So I just sort of backed off from the blog. Just recently, since this coronavirus thing, because I'm also a musician and I work teaching choirs and I play in a band and teach lessons. So that kind of dried up a little bit in the last month.
Yeah, you're not as busy off farm as you used to be.
No, in fact, I'm not leaving the farm. I tried doing a couple of piano lessons via a FaceTime, and that was fun. With the fact that people need this fruit, it really motivates me to want to blog more and show what we have, because I think it's healthy, it's happy, and it's inspiring, and I know everybody is sitting at home and needs some of that.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. I noticed the other day on social media, on Facebook, you do cutout with avocados, and you did a house for stay at home.
I did. Yeah, I've been doing that for a long time. It's fun. If you have little tiny cookie cutters in your kitchen, then you can slice the avocados so that you have smooth outside surface, and then use the cookie cutters to make shapes. And you can use the shapes on your avocado toast to make art, or you can put the little shapes into a salad, or you can put them on a plate, and take a picture and then eat it when it's done. And you can take a picture and share it on Instagram or Facebook, and it's fun.
Yeah.
And now with the stories, you can add stickers and captions, and it's just another thing that you can do with avocados, especially if you have children, teenagers, middle schoolers. It's a great way to learn to cook and enjoy art at the same time.
Yeah, and quite frankly, it just brings a different smile on your face. I remember you cut out some hearts when I was there once, and we put them on top of our salads and things, and it's fun.
It is. You can do it with mangoes, you can do it with bananas, you can do it with a lot of different vegetables and fruits, but of course, avocados are just that perfect consistency.
I will make sure I help everybody understand how to get in touch with you and Ben online. Thanks so much for joining us. Tell Ed I said hi too.
I will. Happy that you want to highlight avocados for everybody.
I love it.
Thanks.
What a great visit I had with Mimi, and I hope you enjoyed it too. There are photos of what an avocado bloom looks like and what the ranch actually looks like. As she talks about it, I just keep picturing it in my mind. That video went up yesterday. If you're listening to this as soon as it dropped. If you're listening to it later, it's all on the website groundedbythefarm.com. And I want to make sure you know where to find Mimi and Ben and their family's farm. Her website, her blog with all the recipes and stuff is mimiavocado.com. And the site where you can order your avocados, just like I did, is californiaavocadosdirect.com. Right now, Fuertes are in season, so are Haas. You can see what's there on the website. And if something's not in season, it will say simply sold out. You can also get those vegetable boxes, potatoes and all sent right to your house. Would appreciate it if you know somebody else who, like me, is spending a lot of time at home thinking about food. Maybe even interested in getting avocados delivered directly. Check out the podcast on a regular basis and sign up for the emails on groundedbythefarm.com. We have conversations around gardening coming. I'm actually going to interview somebody for a bonus episode, somebody who shops for Instacart, because people like me are using that a lot right now. As always, we look forward to seeing you here in the near future. Thanks so much.